The facts around Matt Gaetzs' gun violence claims politics. Citing several recent murders of U.S. citizens by undocumented immigrants, Gaetz argued that a wall, and not proposed gun control legislation, H.R. 8, was necessary to help fight these specific instances of violence. H.R. Manuel Oliver, who lost his 17-year-old son in the Parkland school shooting, took issue with Gaetz's attempt to change the hearing's focus. Oliver twice shot Gaetz, who later told the South Florida Sun-Sentinel he was unaware that Oliver lost a son, continued his line of argument. The episode of raw human emotion spilling out of a typically state legislative space attracted considerable headlines. Many in the Parkland. Earlier this month, California Republic Mike Thompson. The main aspect of the bill is its requirement that most gun gifts, loans, purchases, etc. go through a licensed dealer, importer, or manufacturer. This means that the few exceptions to this part of the bill include transfers that are H.R. 8 would also allow the U.S. Attorney General to install additional regulations, including forcing gun stores to put fees on every purchase. The potential price. The weapon used at the Parkland school was a legally purchased rifle, so this law would not have prevented the shooting last year. It would not have prevented gun violence and undocumented immigrants. Many of the examples of gun violence by undocumented immigrants Gaetz cited were committed by individuals who were not legally allowed to possess a firearm in the first place. It's unlikely that, when it comes to crime rates among illegal immigrants compared to those among U.S. citizens, when looking at Alex Noraste, a senior immigration policy analyst at the Libertarian Cato Institute, that in Texas during 2016 746. Would a wall work? How much, if at all, would an additional wall or fencing decrease the flow of illegal immigration through the southern border? The unsatisfied. With all of these factors, it's unclear how helpful Trump's border wall would be in preventing gun violence perpetrated by illegal immigrants, a number that appears to be far smaller than its U.S. citizen counterpart.
Raindrop, truck top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.